Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm your host, Brian Scott, and this is dedicated to all those spirits out there who believe life is meant to be magical and fun. Here we venture to share the very mysteries of self and reality. My purpose is to help light that spark inside of you, to reawaken your sense of fascination and awe towards the world. I'm going to try to help you hack reality and unleash your potential and open unlimited possibilities of wealth, health, and relationships in your life. Thank you for joining me on the Identity Shift Meditation. This may be one of the most powerful meditations that you try on the Reality Revolution. And the reason is it gets at the very core of how to create reality. There are so many wonderful techniques and ways that you can use to change or improve your life. But one of the most effective that I have found in coaching my clients is the identity shift. Once you go to the very core of who you are and shift your identity, your reality will change permanently and in ways that you can't imagine. So ask yourself, what is your identity? And your identity is all the things that you use to define yourself. Your name, your religion, where you're from, your family, your ethnicity, your culture, your job. And you filter these things almost like a slide through everything else that you do. So for instance, if you're a rapper, then you filter everything in your reality around that. It decides what kind of music that you listen to, what kind of people that you hang out with, and a whole variety of other decisions. It's easy to think about reality in this particular way. When you shift your identity, you will see profound changes in your life. There are plenty of hard science indicators that an identity shift causes a reality shift. But there's one identified in Parallel Universes of Self that is a more extreme example. In researching multiple personality disorders, it was proven again and again that extreme changes can occur when someone shifts their identity. In clinical studies of MPD, multiple personality disorder, people have been witnessed to lose 20 pounds within a few days. Facial scars suddenly disappeared completely as if they had never been there. People's voices, memories, and looks transformed within minutes, and so on. But an identity shift does not only change the body, it changes the whole body of experience. As science will someday have the courage to admit, since the outside world is not separate from consciousness, changing the self equals changing the outside world. In this light, you may understand how superfluous and unnecessarily complicated it is for many of the things that we do in order to make things happen. Believe me, I've tried every single kind of reality creation technique. I've tried taking massive action and meditating 3 hours a day and different visualization exercises. But the most effective that I've used is the identity shift. And it goes to the very core of my quantum physics understanding of the universe and parallel realities. According to the many worlds theory in quantum physics, there may be billions of different realities. Every decision you make branches you off into a different reality. And while there may only be one material reality, there may be billions as well. There is an informational sector of all the possible variant realities in space, in what we call the alternative space. And if you read the book Reality Transurfing, a wonderful book, if you haven't listened to my podcast, I recommend. I have several episodes where I go over it in detail, but they call it the space of variances. And it capitalizes on the idea that there are many different realities, at a minimum, parallel realities. By understanding parallel realities, it's a very powerful mindset. It opens you up to the idea of infinite possibilities. And if it's true, if there is a version of you out there that is an attorney, and say you want to be an attorney, but you're not now, and there's a version of you out there that's an attorney, you can tune in to that version of you that's an attorney. But that's kind of hard. So, because you are something different now. And so you have locked in all these different things that define your identity. So I'm going to take you on a process to break down, first of all, the beginning of this meditation will break down what you are and how you define your identity and reality. And then I'm going to give you a chance to build it back up, and we're going to define your identity any way we want. Once we go into this area where we have completely disassembled your current identity, and it's in a good way, it's only happening through this process of this meditation. You can repeat this meditation many times, and each time I believe that your identity will become crafted more and more as you go through this process. How radically an identity shift changes reality even more the body can be seen in several additional case studies. And research on people with multiple personality disorders is not the only place. According to Frederick Dodson and Parallel Universes of Self, he's talking about people growing back amputated arms and miracles occurring. So it depends on what you believe in your mind of who you are. And the more powerful this identity shift, the more powerful things occur. One of the very best books I recommend is The As If Principle by Richard Wiseman. And he scientifically takes you on multiple studies and gives multiple examples and exercises where if you act as if something, then that tends to create that reality. And he doesn't even believe in a lot of the reality creation stuff we're talking about. He's giving real world statistical examples. For instance, when you lift your lips to smile, if you're unhappy, they have found that this can create chemicals that produce happiness in you. Sometimes things work backwards than you think. So if you carry your body in a measure of stiffness, and then in a certain way, then it will change your emotions on different levels. So if you act as if something, oftentimes that can create a personality shift. And so when I started combining some of the practices and techniques in the As If Principle, in Parallel Universes of Self, and in Reality Transurfing, I've created this meditation, and I'm going to take you through a process called the Neti Neti method, which is a way of kind of breaking down your understanding of reality and yourself and who you are. And then once we've done that, I'm going to build back your meditation, and we will even include a plat activation so that you can continue the flow of your new identity. And that may sound like a lot. Don't worry, this doesn't have to be confusing. You can just follow along with my words, and this is going to be one of the easiest and most wonderful meditations that you've ever tried. And by the end of it, you will be someone else. You will be tuned in to the best version of you for whatever identity that you want. It can help you if you have an idea of an identity that you'd like to take. And so you can try this meditation going in cold and create your identity while we do it. You may find it more powerful to go through a little bit of an exercise and write out what kind of an identity that you would want, going through all of the different levels. But I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to take you through to some different places. And so I can't wait for you to go through this process. So let's begin. We're at the 9th minute, around there, so you can fast forward to that point in future meditations for this. But I want you to find a chair that is comfortable. If you have to lay down, that's fine. But if you can, find a chair. Definitely don't operate any heavy machinery or drive an automobile while you're doing this. because you want to be able to close your eyes and give yourself the power of imagination. So first of all, I just simply want you to get settled. Sit upright in a chair or on a meditation cushion. Find a comfortable position and place your hands on your lap or knees. Follow the breath. Allow your breathing to slow. Our breath keeps us alive, and yet we pay so little attention to it. Study the course of the breath as it enters your nostrils. Fills your lungs, expands your abdomen, nourishes your body, and eventually exits your nose. Relax. Relax your whole body. Go through each part of your body, through your feet, legs, through your stomach and chest, your shoulders, and your arms. Relax your shoulders and your face. Relax your tongue and let it relax loosely in your mouth. Bring your awareness to your eyes and all the little delicate muscles around your eyes and forehead, and let them relax and let go. Close your eyes and settle into the darkness. Into the dark, infinite space within. Continue this for several moments until you feel comfortable in the infinite, black expanse. examine your body. Allow your body to do what it does, to breathe, swallow, and adjust its position. Without appealing to your imagination or memory, ask yourself, where does this body begin and end? With your eyes closed, feel where your body ends. And where does it begin? What is this body? Since you can't feel all of the body's boundaries while sitting motionless, how do you know for sure where your body ends, or even what your body is, unless you rely on your memory? Where is your body? What is it? Now that may sound silly, but the more frequently and deeper we inquire into the nature of the things that we take for granted as facts, the less substantial they feel, and the more conceptual they are revealed to be. The body is ultimately nothing more than an abstraction that we input substantial reality onto. If there is any tension or discomfort in an area of your body, enter it. Concentrate on the region, observing the texture and nature of the discomfort. Investigate any labels or stories you have constructed around the sensation, such as, why me? Or why am I the one who has to? Whatever label that you come up with that you've been using for that part of your body or that thing, return it to the emptiness of the void from which it emerged. The label is just another idea for you to relinquish. Now, ask yourself, where is the I in the body? Inquire into the supposed location of the self in the body. Where does it reside? Ask, where am I? Most people regard the head as the seat of their being. So we will start in the exact opposite end of the body and work our way up. Focus your attention on your feet. Ask yourself, am I my toes? Wiggle them to thoroughly engage and answer the question, Of course, the answer is no. We cannot be our toes. How could we drive or talk if our toes compose the entirety of our being? No individual part of our body is I. For ultimately, we are beyond the body and the entire realm of form. The more we investigate our toes for any toe-ness, the more inane the idea of toes become, like repeating a word over and over until it becomes unintelligible. The more we inquire into toes, the less sense that toes makes, because toes is a concept with no final reality to it. Certainly on a day-to-day basis, we use and must acknowledge its provisional reality, but toes have absolutely no absolute counterpart in reality. Now move to your ankles. And observe your ankles in space, as if it's a part of a hologram. Are you your ankles? Are you creating your ankles? Go to your knees. Are you your knees? Move up your body and consider each part of it. And ask yourself if you are that part of your body. Because we have so many sensory organs, we identify ourselves very strongly with our head. Perhaps we can attribute it to our science-oriented culture. Does our I-ness reside in our skulls behind our eyes? Dig deep into the unstated assumption that some self abides or exists inside your head. Ask yourself, where is this I in my head? Now, consider your whole body in space. Total assemblage of all our organs and limbs. Despite the logical conclusion that we are not any individual part of our body, we probably have the nagging feeling that we are our body, or that the I resides in our body. Or perhaps that I own or possess my body. Where is the I? If you are the entirety of your body, where would you go if you lost a limb? Ask this question with every ounce of energy that you can muster. For the wisdom and freedom that you will get is beyond measure. We are demolishing the shackles of attachment and delusion, liberating ourselves to return to the great reality of the void, of the absolute, which is our and all beings' true nature. Are your sense perceptions you? Ask yourself, if you were to lose your sense of taste, would you still exist? Of course, you might not be the same, but would you still be you? You are not your tongue or its ability to taste, for your true self is beyond any sensory organ or its sensory experiences. Go to the nose. If you lost your nose, would you still exist? If you lost your ears, would you still exist? Are you your eyes or what they see? If you went blind, would you still be you? Of all our senses, we identify most with our eyes. We are such visual creatures that often we take for granted how much of our identity we invest in our eyesight. You must transcend any assumption that you are your eyes, your vision, the owner of them, or that eyes are anything more than an idea. Ask yourself, where are my eyes? What are my eyes? Become aware of your eyes in space. When you close your eyes, where do you go? Now the self. like our eyes, degenerates into absurdity. The sense of self, however, is very cunning, and soon the question evolves into whether we are the process of perception. Is this act of seeing you? Your mind is very crafty. It creates phantasms where none exist. If we cannot find a self, then our shrewd imagination may just project one onto the very process of our perception, regardless of whether it is seen as occurring inside or outside of our body. We have negated all the organs and external perceptions. But is it the process of perception? With your eyes closed, continue to ask, where did my seeing go if I am seeing itself? Where did I just go? Obviously, if seeing ceases and yet our consciousness persists, we are not the act of seeing either. Continue the process for all your senses. They may sound like silly questions, but I want you to ask yourself, I am not my seeing, I am not my feeling, I am not my hearing, I'm not my tasting and smelling. Go through your senses. Are you your pain? We are not our pain, nor is it ours. We don't have to define ourselves by or even identify with the pain. The deeper we inquire into its nature, the less solid it becomes. Pain, thoroughly investigated, diffuses and revealed to arise and subside like the ocean tide. It surges, throbs, and recedes. Pain is not a thing any more than anger is. It simply is because it precedes the labels that we attach to it. Pain is neither good nor bad, for it has no reality as a thing. Pain is simply another idea or label, as is good or bad. Select your most powerful emotions and ask, am I anger? Am I fear? Am I anxiety? Am I love? Where is the I in those? We are not joy and we are not happiness. We are not our emotions. We must internalize this truth. In the core of our being, we are not any of these. We are beyond them. This stage may be the hardest. Are you your emotions? If you did not have your emotions, would you still be you? that sensations arise from nothingness, last for a bit, then subside back into nothingness. We get caught inside of the label depression or anxiety and freeze the experience into a thing that we identify with as if we are. I'm anxious, that's who I am. Or I am depressed. These are all things that we attach to our identity. But if you did not have those things, would you still be you? Now look at your roles that you play. This is very important, this stage. Identify your most common social and familial roles. You are not them. Summon a role such as father, mother, sister, friend, artist, teacher, podcaster, businessman, Christian, Buddhist, etc. As the role comes to mind, explore the personal relationships that role entails. For instance, as an employee, consider your connection to your employers and clients. What emotions do each of these relationships carry? Experience them. Realize that you are not these roles or relationships that they are. They are temporary functions. We play not true nature. Once again, humans have made nouns where none ultimately exist. You can move through these roles rather quickly, for once you realize you are not a cousin, then you can understand that you are not a CEO or mechanic. We are not the things we do. We transcend all of these roles, and thus they can all be seen, though, as concepts, and thus relinquished. Now, let's look at your thoughts. In this stage, actively think. Hear your internal voice and ask, where do these thoughts come from? Let a thought come to you now. Try to trace the thought to some point of origin in your mind. We ordinarily identify so closely with our thoughts. They may sound like our own voice speaking in our head. I'm going to give you some time to identify your thoughts. We are not our thoughts. If we were, we would wink in and out of existence with their comings and goings. Thoughts are impermanent, and our true nature is beyond time. If you are aware before and after thinking occurs, then how can your thoughts be you? Dig into the true source and nature of the thoughts that you're having now and relentlessly ask, where do the thoughts come from and where do they go? Notice thoughts suddenly appear from the formless, ungraspable void of mind. They, like all phenomenon, are manifestations of the absolute and part of a script that you're in now. You are the ineffable, unlocatable void from where all of reality springs. Or rather, that is all there is. For in truth, there is no I. You are that. Before you can realize that we and all of reality share the same nature as the absolute void, we must detach ourselves from our thoughts in order to see that we are not limited or defined by them. Thoughts, regardless of their content, have absolutely no correlates in the real world. Reality precedes and transcends concepts. It is beyond this or that idea. Look into your mind and find the source of your being. Locate the origin of your thoughts. And through it all, find the emptiness that is your true nature, the limitless void of nothingness. Identify the story that you tell about yourself and destroy it. You have a central narrative that you tell yourself about who you are. You probably have many stories, each of which represents a sub-personality of sorts. try to define your main story. Your story helps shape your life and worldview and frame your experience. You may have said, I'm the victim, the loner, the hermit, the rebel, the smart person, the dumb child, the gamer, the rapper. The list goes on and on. Take your pick. All those are stories. This is very important. Dig into your personal story and realize that you are not that person in the story. Everything you've told about yourself is a story of a fictional character who has your name in a movie. You are not that person. No one is. It is not you. This is not your identity. You are not the cool kid or the dork, the star football player or the shy kid in class. No one was. Everything is stories strung together, draped over a convenient and arbitrary set of linear events where no subject, I, truly exists. The I is artificed. Observe how you actively maintain your story through your memories, and how this story reinforces your identity and sense of self. This is not coincidental. Your identity is masterfully crafted and constructed, relies upon consistency in all dimensions of your being. That means a central, overarching narrative that brings all of it together, as if it was written by a creative writing teacher or by a great writer, or maybe not a very good writer. Don't worry. There's nothing to demolish or get rid of, because these were all stories from the beginning. Let them go and ponder on the release of this story. try to isolate the innate sense of I amness. I say try, because the closest you'll get is a series of nervous responses, as if the moment before you find it, you reflexively flinch as if you were about to fall off a giant cliff into yourself. It's okay to gaze into your own emptiness. It is an intuition of your own self-existence, your own beingness. Remember, anything you can perceive is not you. The eye cannot see itself, the ear cannot hear itself, and the mind cannot know itself. Anything we can identify as a percept is an idea. See if you can locate yourself now that you've gone through this process. And now, I want you to let that go into space, into the void. You are not your body, not your emotions, not your roles, not your thoughts, not your story, not even the feeling of I am. You are none of these things. You have now awoken in the eternity archive. You've released the bonds and links of all the things that you have used to define you up to this point. Now, you are free to create any identity that you want, knowing they are all creations and they are not real. But in this space, you can create and become any story that you want. So, let's begin with the breath. I want you to take a moment to identify whatever identity you want to be. I do not want to suggest anything because I don't want you to flow that direction. It can be anything that you want. Whatever you want to be, you can be it right now. You can tell the story and you can define it. Whatever that thing is that you want to be, your absolute identity, you're free to have it now. So to begin, I want you to focus on your breath. And focus on this new identity. How would you breathe? And allow the breathing to slow and study the course of the breath with this new identity. Examine your posture and form. What sort of posture would you have in this new identity? Put the I into that new identity, into each part of your body. How is your new identity in your toes? How would you have your toes and your feet and your legs, your upper body? Every single cell is this new identity. We are imposing our new reality upon this body, if you want to. Now, I want you to analyze your senses. How would your eyes look? How would your ears hear as this new identity? What sort of feelings would you have? How would it feel in your legs to be this new identity? How would it feel in your stomach? How would it feel in your heart? Feel your face change. How would you hold your face? Your lips, your teeth. Select powerful emotions that you would have with this new identity. Would there be joy, happiness, bliss? Now you can create whatever role that you want. Before, we analyze the role of the father, the mother, the sister, the teacher, Christian or Buddhist. I want you to look at your role that you have. This portion of the meditation is very important if you have a particular job that you wish to define your identity as. Knowing this is not really your identity, but giving this to your identity. I want you to imagine as creatively as possible what role and job that you would have going about your day in every way from your own perspective. looked at how your memory has defined you. So go back and imagine you can create any memories that you want, and create new memories as if they define your identity. How did you grow up? What sort of family did you have? All of them are thoughts that do not exist, but you can implant them now. What sort of childhood did you have with this new identity? What sort of food did you eat? What sort of people did you hang out with? What sort of events did you do? What sort of things did you learn? Anything that you can think of. These events define you and your identity. Make them wonderful and positive. You've had past success as this identity already. That's why you are who you are now. Imagine all of the great successes that have brought you to this point. Feel them, let them flow into your mind, create them, imagine them. What sort of thoughts would you be having with your new identity? I want you to sit and just have the thoughts that you would have. What would you be thinking about? And just think the thoughts. Invite these thoughts to come through the void into you, into your new identity. Create a story. What is your new story for your new identity? How did you get to this point? Dig into your story. can be whatever you want it to be. Become this new identity. Identify your plate or plait. Imagine a phantom limb, like a braid hanging from your head. And as you activate it, it wakes up and moves upward. It can be different for everybody out there. Take an in-breath, and on the out-breath, imagine an arrow moving at an angle away from your back, pulling this limb, and it's now activated. Without letting go of the sensation of this energy cord. And if you don't feel it, just imagine it. Compose a picture of your new identity. And at the same time, make sure you're breathing freely. And without losing sense of the plate, take an in-breath. And on the out-breath, sharply send the arrow into a vertical downward position, triggering both energy flows going up and down in your body. Staying aware of the moment of the rising and descending energy flows. Say the following thought form to yourself or aloud. I am. And whatever your identity is, I want you to say it. I am. My intention is being realized. I am. Let go of all the sensations you've been working with. Simply let go. I am. I am. Say it over and over to yourself. Whisper it. You are not the same person you were before this. You are new. Your identity has shifted. Your reality is new and fresh. Welcome to the reality revolution. Come back to yourself and move out into the world as the new identity that you were meant to be.